hard on young people. They're caught in part between an emergent nihilism that seems to be implicit in a materialist worldview and the temptation of radical ideologies. And neither of those options, I would say, is tenable. I mean, the nihilistic option leaves you with nothing, and that's not good.
And that's an existential realization in some sense too, because if your life is fundamentally problematic without you being pathological, just as the essence of your life, then you need something to defend against that. You can't just have nothing, because all it does is leave you with the suffering that's implicit in your experience. And then to swing to a totalitarian system means that you don't even exist. Once you've done that,
everything you say can be predicted. You're just the puppet of a rational scheme that has an explanation for everything, but that's really good for nothing except destruction.
Because it's too vague and abstracted to be used to actually solve any concrete problems. So this is the situation of modern people as far as the existentialists were concerned. Like psychoanalysis, existentialism seeks to utilize these very conflicts as avenues to the more profound self-understanding of man. Well, so what does that mean? Well, it means, at least in part, that the theorists that we're going to talk about had an idea that was akin to the psychoanalytic idea of facing what you're afraid of. And that's a key concept in psychotherapy. There's not that many key concepts in psychotherapy. Okay, now I'm going to read you some things from some of the people that I described, and we'll take them apart a little bit. Things I've been collecting for a long period of time. So this is Nietzsche, Dostoevsky, and Kierkegaard, and I called them prophets of the dawning age. Kierkegaard, the Danish philosopher and writer, was really the first person who wrote about phenomena like anxiety, dread, more particularly. So he was the first person who sort of conceptualized it as something akin to a scientific phenomena, something that had existence, and he wrote very much about that. Nietzsche, of course, was the great prophet of the death of God, and a prognosticator of what the psychological consequences of the demise of this classic meaning structure that was unbelievably ancient, what the collapse of that actually meant. You can think about Christianity, and then maybe you could think about the Judaism that it was embedded in as even an older system. But that Judaism emerged out of the Middle East, partly out of Egypt, which was enmeshed in even an older belief system, and that was enmeshed in something absolutely prehistoric. And so it was a continuum in some sense of adaptive structures that reigned supreme essentially right until the scientific revolution. Dostoevsky was a big influence on Nietzsche. And it's very interesting to read them in parallel, because Dostoevsky is, of course, a dramatist and Nietzsche is a philosopher, and it's almost as if Dostoevsky wrote the drama and Nietzsche provided the philosophical commentary. They're very, very powerful to read together.
Oh. Demons, be gone!
Be gone, demons.
Be gone!
Leave this studio!
Leave this planet.